Hey everybody, happy Thursday. We are almost through the week. I hope everything has gone well for you guys so far. It's still a little weird here, talking to myself, but we'll make sure what we have at the moment. So let me go ahead and pull up what we are doing today. So before we get started with this today, I want to remind you guys of a few things. One being that we are doing Zoom office hours. For me, it is from 1:30 to 2:30 in the afternoons. If you find you are having trouble with something or just have a question about what we've been doing, the link to that Zoom meeting should be on the course homepage where it says Zoom. You should just be able to click on it and take you straight to it. If for some reason it doesn't, shoot me an email and I will send you the link. That way you can get on and ask any questions you may have. Other than that, we are going to go ahead and get started with what we're doing today. And so before we move into it, we're going to be looking at what sources and evidence are and why they matter to us. So yesterday we talked about thinking like a historian, talked about like how historians are storytellers, lawyers, scientists, that kind of thing. We're going to break that down a little bit more today and look at what goes into those different parts. So today, this will be a two-part thing, today and tomorrow, but today we're going to focus on sources and evidence. So our objective for today is hopefully you'll be able to explain how sourcing and evidence help you think like a historian, how they help you break down history in a way that will hopefully make a little bit more sense. The question of the day for today, as you should have seen on Canvas, is does providing evidence and knowing the source of something really matter? Does it matter where something came from? Does it matter who wrote it? Does it matter if it's true or not? So those are the things we're going to be looking at a little bit more today. So as far as sourcing or sources, according to Google and this dictionary I found on my desk, sourcing simply means the point of origin, where it came from, or in some cases, who wrote it, who created it. So questions that you should ask yourself is, why do we care? Why do we care where something came from? Should we care about where it came from or who wrote it? Since we're all learning new information every day, it seems, I would argue it's important to know where it's coming from. Where is this information coming from? Who it came from? So does the person that created this article, this video, do they know the topic? Are they knowledgeable in the topic? Would they have any reasons to lie, create fake news, essentially? And then something else that we should always look at is, was whatever we're looking at created while the event was happening or years later? And what I guess I mean by that is the speech that, let's just say the speech that President Roosevelt gave after Pearl Harbor. He gave it the day after the event of Pearl Harbor. Would it matter if he gave that speech 10 years later? Maybe, maybe not. But that's kind of what I mean by that is, does it matter that something was created as the event was happening? Like, was someone writing or recording a video in the middle of a battle and you see it as it's happening, or when you look at it years later and you're trying to figure out, okay, has their story changed? So often when I'm talking about sourcing in here, in class is looking at three things in particular. Do we know when this thing was written or created? It's not always some writing. It can be a picture. It can be a piece of art. What? Do we know when it was made? Do we know who created it? Do we know who wrote this book? Do we know who wrote this paragraph? And then again, was it created during the event we're talking about or after? So this is just a source of what you probably might want to ask yourself. Well, I ask myself when I'm reading something for the first time. One, who wrote it? What is the author's perspective? What are they writing on? Are they writing on one side versus another of a battle? Why did they write it? Why did they take the time to create this thing? When was it written? Was it written during the event or 30 years after? Where was it written? Does it matter? And then the last two, is it reliable? So, given any particular thing we may be looking at, you might be able to answer all of these questions, or you might not be able to answer any of them. This isn't a checklist of, yeah, we know this, we know this, we know this. It's, okay, we might know this first one, but we have no idea when it was written. We might know who wrote it, but we may not know when. We may not know why. So this isn't just like a checklist. This is, okay, here's some things we should look for. And again, we may be able to answer all of those. We may not be able to answer any of them, but it's something that we need to think about when we're going through and sourcing something. So to kind of give you a sense of what that looks like, if we look on the left here with this one. So if I said the new Tesla truck can drive 1,000 miles without ever having to charge its new lithium battery. Okay. Or if you just see that somewhere, you see someone wrote the new Tesla truck can drive 1,000 miles. Do we know who said that? Based off of what's written right there? Do we know if that person is knowledgeable on Teslas? Maybe, maybe not. We don't really know for sure. So based off of this, the credibility of this is a little iffy because it could be Elon Musk himself, or it could be somebody who wrote a blog post on the internet. We don't know. But if we look on the right here, according to Elon Musk, the CEO, the chief executive officer of Tesla, the truck can drive 1,000 miles before it has to recharge its new lithium batteries. Now, knowing that Elon Musk himself said that gives this a lot more credibility because one, he should know how far his trucks and cars can go before they need to be recharged. So having a quote from Elon Musk himself definitely helps the credibility aspect of the evidence is Elon Musk himself, the source, rather. So moving on to evidence, again, according to our friends at Google and this dictionary on my desk, evidence is simply anything that shows proof that something happened. Evidence can take on several different forms, and basically evidence is there to prove that something happened the way someone said it did. A lot of times when we think of evidence, we think of a court case. Well, we found the murder weapon that proves, with so-and-so's fingerprints on it, that proved he did the crime. For history, though, evidence can be like that. And it's usually there to add support to an argument, to a case, if you will. It can be in the form of a letter, as you see on the top here, pictures, paintings down here, videos, YouTube, TikTok, whatever could be evidence. Music, art, and then pretty much anything else that you might think of could be evidence. So, again, this picture on the left here, it says close reading, but it goes along with evidence too, in the sense of evidence is there to kind of help us understand what claims the author is making. What are they arguing here? What proof do they have? What proof do they have that this isn't happening the way they said it did? What words do they use? What language do they use? Does the language of the evidence indicate the author's perspective? Which side they may be on? Do they believe what they're saying, or are they being told to write this for someone else? A good way to look at evidence is to think of it as what the author creator is giving you to show why their case is correct, to prove why this case is true, will happen the way it says it is. So some more practice evidence here is if I came out and said Africa is the second largest continent in the world and just left it right there, what evidence do I give you to prove that Africa is the second largest? Based off of that first sentence right there, none. You have no way of knowing where I got that information. Africa is the second largest continent. I don't give you any idea as to where I got that information. I just said it. So since there's no evidence provided to support it, it's just a claim. I'm just claiming that Africa is the second largest. Now, if I go over here and I say, according to National Geographic, Africa is the second largest continent behind Asia, that gives you a whole lot more evidence to go off of. That gives you a way to kind of fact check what I'm saying. You can go to National Geographic and find where it says Africa is the second largest continent in Asia, and it will probably give you the number in terms of miles, square miles that Africa actually is. I give you the evidence where I got it from to support the idea, the claim that Africa is the world's second largest continent. So I give you proof that Africa is the second largest. So just adding that there kind of gives it a little credibility. And it may not always be written as according to National Geographic. It might be Africa is 7 million square miles, which I don't think that number's right off the top of my head, but you might see something like Africa is 7 million square miles to Asia's 14,000 square miles. Those numbers probably aren't correct off the top of my head, but evidence can take on multiple different forms, not necessarily just according to such and such website. And then that is the PowerPoint for today, the video for today. On the next page in the module, I'll have the instructions for the assignment for tonight, and then the video of me reading the questions for you if you want. And then as always, don't forget that if you have a question, shoot me an email. If you want to get on during the Zoom meeting, the link should be on the course homepage. If it's not, let me know and I will get that to you. Otherwise, you're good to start on your assignment. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let me know so that I can figure out how to do the best I can.